Well, it's June 2019 to you, still late April to me, but it's time. So, as is the case every month, you know my future, I don't know yours. I'd planned to write to you about mice. This equipment's dead. This equipment's just in storage, otherwise there's bees everywhere. Mice are crazy. They think that I put this storage building up here for them. It's about 30 yards from a cornfield, through some heavy undergrowth, across a small lane here to get to that house, that barn. So I can't put anything in there that the mice don't eat. I complain they've chewed up my tractor wiring. It's just hard to love a mouse. Everything has its reason in the environmental system, though. I know that. So I sat down to write to you about mice. Common subject. I was going to write to you about how the books that we read gloss over some of these subjects badly. Well, I actually had skunks on my mind, because right over there's no reason to go show you. It's just a hole under the barn where an animal has dug a hole. Well, it's the same animal that dug the hole last year. It's skunks. On this side of it, the groundhogs will move back in. Then a raccoon will come through, and woodpeckers were a few years ago, and then the squirrels tried to chew up my plastic equipment, the styrofoam, expanded polystyrene thing. Kind of an ugly part of beekeeping that we don't want to talk about all that much, because it's ugly, you know, to try to deal with all these mammals. It's not like some animal pest or whatever. So I'm going to have to put my veil on, because these guys are unkind now. So give me just a minute. When I keep talking, they follow my breath. So by the time I got ready to write about the mouse thing, it turned into a skunk thing. And I went on and on about skunks. You know, what are you going to do? The book tells you to put them on raise your beehives off the ground. The book tells you to put up a fence. Well, I'm putting up fencing right here. That's not a cheap thing to do. And you're putting up fencing to keep the animals away. You got to bury it some. Put that underground. So I don't know if that's much of a recommendation or not. It seems like they just mark the spot and move on. It seems like all writers, because it turned into a whole book. You can't trap vermin. In Ohio, you can't move vermin. Right where I'm standing right here, I'm not even allowed to throw a rock at some perceived pest animal. Certainly slingshots, BB guns, pellet rifles, and heaven forbid, any rifle of any caliber is off limits. So trapping, nope, can't trap. Even if it's vermin, what are you going to do? You can't relocate it. So there's actually ordinances against moving vermin to somebody else's property. So I got all strung out on that, because there really is no clear answer. Whatever you do to decide that you think helps control those animals in your bee yard, you probably just ought to keep to yourself. Yesterday I came in and I reversed all these beehives. Put the bottom deeps down below, reversed the deeps so that brood nests are down below. So a lot of bees have lost their entrances and they're confused, a lot of random flight. While I was standing right about there looking at the random flight yesterday, a bee went up under my left glasses lens, quick as lightning or faster, and crossed over my left eye with me just about having a nanosecond of time to go crazy. And then she was out the top of my glasses, hit the brim of my hat, and then it either flew or fell back into my eye again, and that time she stung me. I feel like that was a wake-up call for me, because I've just had tree people right here, and the bees were right here. Now they weren't at all this flighty, and it wasn't at all this warm, so it was a different season. But the fence people are coming in 3 weeks, and they've already said they don't want to work around bees. And then beyond that, electricians to wire the barn and maybe put some water in with other fellows coming through. And I've got these bees here. So one of the things not covered in books is that beekeepers have a responsibility to bees and the people that are around them. And heaven forbid, if you bring a visitor in, we're like professional guides. We should bring those people in, take those people out safely, without anything unusual happening. So at this moment, I'm wearing the glasses that I would normally wear if my bees were not riled up. They're just common safety glasses. 3M product that I got somewhere, red side, black, clear lenses, and they wrap around, they touch my face all the way around. And I would just go with that, but when I'm talking to you and I'm exhaling air, the bees will find that and fly upstream and sting me. So I wear those a lot. I would suggest that we keep those readily available in our bee yards. If I were a wealthy man, I'd actually have these things made in prescription so that I could have eye protection in general and at the same time be able to look for eggs and small larvae. So I shouldn't take it so lightly. I don't think any of us should when we have people and around our bees. People have really changed. Went on about the skunk thing a bit ago. I was reprimanded at a meeting years ago by a woman who was adamant that skunks have their rights and privileges too, you know, and they do. I just wish they would take their rights and privileges over here in the wild kingdom and not exercise those rights and privileges under my barn there. At times I've had 6 skunks living under there. So people have changed, bees have changed. We need to acknowledge those changes. And even though we have angels of agriculture and all these things we promote, if the wrong person gets stung here in the bee yard while the bees are doing their things, it could be ugly for us. So I'm going to have more safety glasses laying around and a few more veils, and I will make my bees mobile again. I'll write about it, no doubt. But I will move these bees out for the fence people to work literally 3/4 of a day putting in that new fencing. These are the things that only experience gives you in beekeeping. This is not the kind of information you get in the chapter of a general bee book. They just can't cover all the topics. There's nothing bad about what I'm telling you. There's nothing unusual. This is not a downer for beekeeping and for bee books. It's just true experience. It's strange here in the bee yard, negotiating with other people and with your bees and with the wildlife that wants to live here too. Between now and next month, something else will come up. It always does. Bees are never boring. I really appreciate you watching this thing. Appreciate you letting me go on and on. It helps me to kind of explain why I was going on and on in the article. So thanks for having a look. Look forward to seeing you next month. Be almost summertime by then. Bye-bye.